friends. Welcome back to Real Girl Talk, the podcast for women who want to live an empowered, intentional life. I will be giving you the best tips in business, lifestyle, as well as emotional and spiritual healing, bringing you interesting guests and giving you a weekly dose of inspiration, committed to always keeping it real. Now let's dive in. I am so grateful that you're here. Welcome back to Real Girl Talk. I am your host, Sherry, and as always, I have amazing guests on my show, and I can brag about that because I do. And today is no different. I have the beautiful one and only Elizabeth de Moraes. Did I say your last name correctly?
You were very, very close.
No,
what I tell people, and it was beautiful. What I usually tell people is as if I was asking for more rice on my plate. Like, I want to have some more rice, so more rice. And then if you want to roll the R,
rice.
Go for
rice.
It. More rice.
The rice. And
there you go.
And did I almost speak Spanish for a second there? Yeah, I almost did it.
Did you almost do it?
I almost did it. So I want to introduce Elizabeth to you guys. Listen, I met Elizabeth at a workshop in Dallas, and we connected. I love her, attracted to her, and you're going to know why when you listen to her speak. But she is an international certified transformation coach, and she calls herself a confidence and success catalyst, and I think she is, because she really helps women really achieve the way to a more abundant life and business and success. Her gift is really to help and master the art of being fully expressed and self-confident while unleashing your unique inner and outer stylish it factor. She combines her multi-talents of deep inner transformation work along with her love and impressive experience of all things performing, and she's an amazing dancer, fashion, and personal branding expert. Everybody welcome Elizabeth to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and I'm so excited to have a conversation with you. Or girl chat, right?
Girl chat.
Yeah.
Real
girl chat, baby.
That's what it's about, girls.
Girl talk.
You are a jack of all trades and a master of all.
Oh, thank you.
You are, because when I met you, I mean, you had an amazing product that you introduced to us at this workshop, which I use when I travel and I do my podcast. And anytime I go on video, I use the Glam kit, and we're going to talk about that and how instrumental you were with bringing that to the Emmys and the VIP suite, which was amazing. But what I love is that you are a coach in confidence and personal branding. So I want you to talk to us a little bit about your story and who you are and what you can do for women that are looking for that.
Sure, definitely. That's a big question. That's a broad question in terms of my story.
Time to deliver, girl.
Okay, baby. Well, my story is that, I mean, the reason why I'm good at what I do is because I've been able to transform my life from complete shyness and self-doubt, self-deprecation, self-sabotage. We're really like on the outside would look like I have things together. I was succeeding at certain things that I would put my mind to, but on the inside, just pulling myself down. And I know a lot of women have that. They can look like they're you look at a woman, you're like, goodness, she's got it all put together, and you might have a little jealousy about her. She's pretty or whatever. She has it easy. So many times, so many of us internally are just crumbling. And so I come from a background of having that in my life, and it's held me back so much, where I know that I'm made for so much. And you probably have the same feeling, you wouldn't be doing what you're doing if you didn't know that there was something inside of you that you know that you're made for something pretty big. Right. And a lot of women feel that. But they may not know what it is. They just have that feeling. But we often then can question that and doubt it. I think we all have amazing things inside of us that we're meant to bring out, but we so often will just shut it down. And for me, that constantly created what I say, a soul ache, that I knew that I wanted to get out there and I wanted to be confident, but I was terrified to step out.
Right.
And so it's kind of this oxymoron of like, yeah, I'm here, but what I say is I'm still going to be hiding in plain sight. And so I've transformed myself to being more in alignment with my higher purpose, what I'm supposed to be doing in the world. And instead of looking on the outside for validation and information and opinion, to go,
Mm-hmm.
okay, wait, I know that I'm trying to get out there, but all I'm doing is looking at from the outside or asking from the outside. I can't get it out there because I'm afraid of the judgment or whatever might come. And since I've been able to then go internally, and this is what I help my clients with, is to slough off all the extra stuff out there, slough off looking out, and look internally, transform that, and then bring out the beauty, bring out that creativity, bring out the charisma that's been hiding inside of you, that you've been fearful of bringing out, but you know it's there. And
Right.
so that's what I help my clients with, because I've gone through the process. And we all have a past. We all have limiting beliefs that we've created for ourselves. We all have these fears that have either been taught or that we have learned. There are only 2 or 3 fears that we have coming into this world, and that is, to be dropped, or fear of being dropped, fear of loud noises, and then we learn also, fear of abandonment, because if we don't get fed, we know we're going to die. But at a subconscious level,
Right.
every single fear out there that you are fearful of is learned. And
Right.
so it's a matter of unlearning those and then just stepping out confidently, and in terms of how you need to step out of. But
I totally, I'm hearing everything you're saying, and my mind is going into 50 different directions because I'm thinking of not just myself fitting into some of the examples that you gave, but some women, and I mean very influential, high level women in this particular category. And what hit me is when you said self-sabotage, because and then fear. So do you believe, this is what I believe. I'll tell you what I believe. I don't want to hear what you
I
believe.
would love to. Yep.
What do you think is the main reason why we self-sabotage? If we want something so badly, why are we sabotaging ourselves from getting there?
There are a lot of different reasons, and everyone is different, but I think the main one is that, especially we as women, often feel like we're not well, let me say it this way. There are underlying belief systems that are causing one to do that. I know for myself, it was that I don't think I'm worthy, that I don't deserve that, or that, what if I can't handle it? What if I can't, I know that, this element of not, not, or that there's something inside of you that is like, you're meant for greatness, or
Right.
something, whatever it is. It doesn't mean it has to be all over the billboards and that you're all over social media and everything. Is that you're just meant for something great. Is that sometimes you innately know how great it is, and you don't know how you might be able to handle it. And that's one of
What I
them.
was going to say. You nailed it, because I am a true believer in, even though you want it, it's out there, you want it, you know what you're going for. We tend to do these little tiny self-sabotaging behaviors because we may think we're not unworthy, or we're in fear of what somebody might think.
Exactly. And I was going to say that too, is that when I get to the nitty gritty of when I'm working with my clients, like, what is really holding you back? Like, we've left this away, left that away. And yes, there are other things that have impacted one's life. Like maybe one has been sexually abused, or, told that from a young age that you were stupid, or whatever it is, that those are underlying in there as well. But it's over and over again when I say, okay, what is really holding you back? And the answer is, I'm afraid of what people are going to say, what they're going to think about me. Are they going to make fun of me? Are they going to think that, oh, I'm all of that and all that? And who does she think she is? And we dim our light from it, because we have, I've had clients say, when I'm succeeding in certain ways, I'll have like the mean girls from work or whatever try to sabotage me or speak negatively about me or try to take me down.
Right.
So there's this fear then of, well, what if I really go for it? Like, if I really go for it, what's going to happen then? Like, what are they going to do then? And so it's working on not worrying about them, and just
I love
moving
that.
forward.
And
But it's so hard.
it is hard. It's hard, Elizabeth, but you know what? One thing that, and I don't think I even told you this, but I know I've commented several times on some of your Facebook lives, because when I see them pop up and I'm able to, I jump on them, because I know whatever you say is just the real deal.
Oh,
Because
thank you. That
so
gives me chills. Thank
you're
you.
so authentic, and it comes across that way, and I know you have a genuine heart. I can see it. I mean, you
Thank
brought
you.
me to tears, girl. I mean, I'm just going to tell you,
Aww.
you brought me to tears, because there was a particular situation where you went live because someone had done something to you, and I don't know if it was just
On Facebook or
on Facebook.
Mean Girl?
It was a mean girl that did something, and instead of you cowering down and crying in private, you chose to make that situation public to help someone else that was going through it. And you didn't wait until you recovered from it. You went live while you were in it deep.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see it. Your heart was hurting. Someone hurt your feelings, and you got on there.
She was mean.
Yeah, so she was mean.
And it was all live. It was on Facebook. If this
But
is the
see,
same
that's
situation.
the thing. I mean, but it was. Do you see how that? Like, I can remember that, and it was months and months ago. But I can remember it because what I remember, it wasn't. I don't even remember anything you said, but I remember how you made me feel. How many times have you heard that? And you made me feel like that someone else has actually experienced what I have experienced, and you were so strong in it, and you were telling everybody on Facebook how to handle it. And you were basically talking to yourself on how to handle it while you were telling us how to handle it. And it was not just inspirational, but it was educational, because someone else in that situation is going to remember that Facebook Live from you, because I know I did.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, the thing is, and I'm glad you're bringing this up, because, so many times, we talk about being vulnerable or being open, being authentic, all of those things. And, that doesn't have to mean, go naked face with no makeup and in your pajamas and messy hair. That doesn't mean that doesn't always mean you're being authentic. But at the same time, when you talk about being vulnerable or authentic, that also doesn't mean you are there to air your dirty laundry or to be like, we're going through this. So I'm so glad that you said, you were talking yourself through it. It was educational, where it was, help, and just like, this is what happened to me, and I'm so upset, and blah, 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 bye. Like, do you see the difference?
Oh,
right?
Yeah, there's a huge difference, because you see that all the time.
Yes. And so I always tell my clients, like, if you're going through something, like, you're never going to see me don't work through something online. Like, go past it a little bit, so that you can, maybe it's still fresh enough where you do tear up or whatever, but that you're able to then pass on some type of learning nugget from it, and so that they can grow from it.
Exactly.
And so you will never see me, like, if I'm in the middle of some crisis or whatever, you're never going to see me just blow up. I may say something like, I've been going through a really difficult time right now in my life because of blah, blah, blah. And what I'm learning from that is this. Or maybe you haven't heard from me very much because something's going on. But these are the things I've learned. And that's so super important, because then what you're doing is you're utilizing your pain, your challenges, and turning it into something that's positive for other people. Because we who are, in the more of a spotlight in terms of, educating coaches, people who are influencers, we have a responsibility. And I know that you have a lot of viewers here who are in that same boat, that they want to make an impact. They want to put themselves out there. But it's also about being real as well. And I've had to really, juggle that and that realness, because my branding is very, has been very sleek and kind of, like high, I love glam. And I've had to be conscious about, okay, how can I make myself within a world of, I love glam, how can I make myself approachable? And so, and that's how I've helped myself in terms of my own personal branding, help myself be more approachable, even though, talking with me, I'm going to be approachable, but from the outside, it's easy for people to make judgment, to, decide certain things about me or whomever, but then take them out of the game. And I always tell people, like, release any judgments about me. If I'm if I'm speaking publicly, for example, I was like, okay, you see me, release your judgment, because if you have judgment, you're taking yourself out of the game. This is where we're going to be real here. We're going to open up and we're going to step into this together.
That's
So,
right. I hear what you're saying, because not just releasing judgment from yourself, but releasing judgment from other people. Because if you're
yes,
spending all of your time judging other people as well as yourself, you're not spending any time on improving yourself. You're just
correct. There's no room.
and I don't think there's I don't think you can get a lot from self-criticism. I think you can get a lot from understanding your mistakes and how to do better, but just to self-sabotage or criticize yourself and stay in that lull, you're not getting anywhere. You're not progressing.
And but there's a safety in that. There's a comfort in that. Like I'll tell people, like you are addicted, and your comfort zone is self-sabotage or pulling yourself down, because you can also get attention that way. Not saying not so much, but like that's a way to get attention, or
Right.
it's just, but it's your known, right? And if you change it, then what might happen? Like, if you're a perfectionist, that's also another element of self-sabotage too. If you're a perfectionist, you can you're setting yourself up for failure in a sense, right? So of course you're going to sabotage that, because you never can reach that attain that level. And so it's a way to stay in that circle, in that cycle, and instead of allowing yourself to grow. But it's sometimes, if you are a perfectionist, for example, part of perfectionism is to be critical, because you feel like, okay, that's going to make me better, right? It's going to improve my skills. It's going to help me get better at whatever I'm doing. But while you're doing it, you're beating yourself up. So then with that, the energy behind it and the feelings that come from it are not going to generate strong transformational actions that you need to make yourself better. Whereas that's kind of the opposite of what we're kind of taught in our societies, like work hard, perfect things, where it's almost, it's a release and a surrender into, okay, what do I need to get better at? Okay, let me, with grace and love, rather than
Right. Exactly. Now, from switching gears, talking about the personal branding aspect of what you do, let's talk about personal branding when it comes to social media, because that's such a big thing right now. I mean, let's face it, social media is the number one, and I don't know if you can call it free anymore. It's kind of free. If you want it to reach more people, you have to buy ads, but it's still a very free-based, I guess, platform, social media.
Anybody can do it, right? Anybody can start a show. It's amazing.
So from a personal branding viewpoint, what are some do's and some don'ts when you're wanting to brand yourself in a particular industry?
Good question. Good question. Well, the first thing I would say in terms of don't do things to get attention. Because often, the gimmicks. I've seen people wear, crazy glasses. Unless you wear glasses, don't just decide to put, okay, this is now my brand because this is what everybody's going to remember me by. Right. If it's what you wear, awesome. But the gimmicks and things like that, yes, you want to stand out above the crowd, because 80% of all online content is video, for example. That's another big thing I would say is do video. But if you are doing video, you want to stand above the crowd. And the way to do that is authenticity. And I know it's such an overrated word, overused word, but I say connect with the essence of who you are. Stop, don't put things on you for people to then notice you, because they're going to see through it. They're going to feel it. They're going to understand, like, I don't know about this. This is kind of gimmicky, or who's the real person? And people are so done with, like really manufactured, and all the automation and all of that. They want real connection.
Right.
And so this is the theme of today, I guess, because we talked about it at the beginning, like stop looking out the outside for validation, for opinion. go and find your essence of who you are and love, like fall in love with that essence, whether it's the feeling of, that you love the glam element. Well, then really embrace it, feel it, and put it out there, and just speak it, ooze it, everything. If you're more of like, a boho type of girl, it's more natural, embrace that fully and step into it. Because the thing is that the more you step into who you are and be confident with that, the more you're going to attract other people that are in that same vibe, and that are just going to go, you're my girl, you're my person I want to listen to, or that I want to follow or learn from.
Right.
And then just show up as yourself, and then believe in what you have inside of you. So many times people on social media are like, I don't, when they're thinking about what to do, I don't have anything to say. No one's going to listen to me. I have this expertise, but there might be a feeling of imposter syndrome. So then the element of like, well, I don't have anything to say that's of value. No, you have a lot of value. It's those gifts that you have that often we overlook. Right? Personally, we overlook. And so it's like really settle into what is beautiful about you and what your gifts are and your talents, and own them instead of deflecting them and thinking you need to go get better at X, Y, and Z and look out for another course or another degree or, read another book before you get ready. Just really hone in on who you are and get good at it, and then put it out in the world. And then there's no competition. Right? Because there's only you,
There's only you. There's only one you. But, and I think sometimes, I know I've worked with some one-on-one clients. That's not what I do all of the time. But when I do have a client, I had one in particular, and when you said you were talking about the gifts, it made me think about her, because she literally told me, Elizabeth, I don't have any gifts.
Oh, that kills me.
I said, okay, well, what I want you to do is, I had to get really, really deep in her. And I said, what I want you to do is tell me things that you enjoy doing. Yes. By the time we got finished with this, I found out that she could be a professional flute player, number one.
Wow.
And that she is a baker and makes the most beautiful wedding cakes. And when we came to the end and I said, what are you thinking? You think that you don't have a gift? And I think it's what we honed in on was because it's so easy for her. Yes. And it's just something she enjoys and it's so natural for her. She didn't look at it as a gift. And I said, can you imagine, like, if you should be able to see me trying to make a wedding cake, that was
oh my gosh, not you, me.
Monster that you have ever seen. I have no talent, no interest in making it. I have all the interest in the world of eating it, but that's
right. Right. And that's a gift.
And I think a lot of times is that women don't know how to hone in on their gifts and talents.
Well, we've forgotten how.
So give us some tips. Like, we're talking to this, we have tens of thousands of women that listen to this podcast. So if there's a woman, she's cruising in her car right now, or she's going for her morning walk or whatever, and she's like, well, then she's thinking right now, Elizabeth, how do I find my gifts? What would you tell her?
Definitely. Well, let me give you two things. May I give you two exercises to do?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this first one is not so much about finding the gifts, but finding the characteristics that are inside of you that make you such an amazing person. And it's an adoration process. And if those of you who are listening, if you know about this, don't give it away, because I'm going to give you an example. So really, in a nutshell, what you do is you get a piece of paper, you put it upright, just like, in a notebook, put 3 names of people that you really respect, admire, adore, whatever it is. And they can be either family, friends, celebrities, people in who are influential, business people, whoever it is. Write those 3 names down, put 2 lines down, so you now have 3 columns. And under each one, try to work towards at least 20 descriptive words about them. Either, just go to 20, and if you can keep going, great. Do so, or put a timer on 10 minutes, the Pomodoro method, just 10 minutes, just do it. You put down as many words of what you admire about them. And so those of you who are listening, pause this for a moment and go do that. Once you're finished with that, come back. But if you're just listening, if you're in your car, don't do that. The next step would be then to scratch the names out and put your name there. Because the thing is that you wouldn't be able to see those things in those people, or those things wouldn't be priorities to you if they weren't already innately inside of you. And so, and for example, the two of us could have the exact same people. We have some similar words just because we're women, we're in this society, we admire certain similar things. But we're also going to have a lot of things that are different. And it's because those things are priorities to you and to me, and the talents that are in those people that we see, they're inside of us. So when you hone in on that and you sit with that and you're like, wow, okay, these things are inside of me, I can now start working on expanding those and reconnecting with them, reclaiming those things and honoring them, and then stepping into those elements. So that's a really powerful exercise to do.
I love
And
that exercise. I love that.
And you can do it repeatedly, over every 6 months or so, just to really like come back into you. Because the more of this type of work you do, the more you're going to find out about yourself, the bigger you're going to step out in terms of being more bold in what you're doing. And then you're like, okay, where am I now? Like this is something that you want to progressively do all the time, because there are things that, as you could become super, super successful, and still there's more of you to come out, right? So there's that one. And another one is I have a picture of myself. I don't know, maybe I'm 2 years old, and I just look like I'm just big smiles. My arms are crossed. I have this cute little purse, and from the early 70s, and I'm just like there. And I look at that, and I'm able to reconnect with that little girl. That's the soul that came into this world without anything that's really happened to her yet, right? Life hasn't happened. Traumas may not have happened. Whatever happens, throughout your life, none of that has happened yet. And there's this exuberance in that. And that's the little girl who loves to dance, who wants to do certain things, and just really has a curiosity for life. And so if you can reconnect, and it might sound cliche, but to reconnect with your little girl, where there's that imagination and that creativity, and that I can do anything. When somebody would ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be this and that and that, from a princess to an astronaut to an astrophysicist, like I'm going to do that. And that belief and that faith behind it, because everything is wide open. Like, why not? And I think as we get older, we forget that certain things happen, or we make certain decisions, or we find ourselves in our 40s or so, kids leaving for college, and we're like, and where am I now?
Right.
And it's reconnecting with those beauty.
And I think too, we let from a little child, and I was just envisioning this picture of myself when you were saying that, with my hands on the hips being prissy, and then and thinking about how that was an exact picture of my little Roxanne, my 3-year-old granddaughter, that started dance this week, and she was the cutest picture. I put it on Facebook, but it's similar to.
I saw it. I thought it was so cute.
Is she not adorable? Well,
yes.
I have a picture of me acting just like that, because I'm telling you, this child is me made over. It's very frightening. So I was sitting here envisioning that little girl, and I remember thinking my whole life I wanted to be Miss USA, and I was in pageants. It just went on and on all the way into competitions, and I took a break and then went back as Mrs. Contestant and did all of that. But I think what happens is, between that childhood innocence and the point to where we are in our 40s and 50s, that we let the other voices, the voices of other people, tell us who we're supposed to be, who we are, who they think we are, and what we need to be doing. And we veer off that little girl dream path onto the path of what our friends said, what our family said, what our boyfriend or our spouse said that we should be doing. And then we find ourselves sitting there in our 30s, 40s, even 50s, sometimes 60s, going, what happened? Why am I where I am? Because this is nothing that I had set out to do.
Even though it can look like from the outside, it looks like perfection.
Exactly.
Married with a great house, 2 kids, great cars, whatever, vacations, successful business, all of that. And you're like, this isn't even what I'm supposed to be doing.
And this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing.
not that you should be married and all of that and have kids, but what I'm saying is there's there's a safety in that, doing what society tells you should do. Even though you might love what you have, you still might feel out of alignment.
Right. And I call it identity loss, because at some point you lose your identity, and because you pour yourself into everyone and everything around you, and you lose who you are. And sometimes you never get it back. But what I love what you do is, but you can. So tell us about what you're doing. And I want to talk about this mini series that you have coming up. Tell us what you're doing, because I know that you can get that back for the women that are listening, that they can get that childhood dream or the things that they've been wanting to develop for the last 10 years. And it just went stagnant because, got to wait for the kid to go to college or go back to school, or, the husband to be happy and everything just to be with the picket fence and the whole 9 yards. Instead of waiting, like Joel Osteen said, stop waiting on your world to become perfect and start living in the world that has already been perfected for you.
Oh, I love that. Right. No, that's so true. That is so true. And so, what I help women do when they're in that place, what I'm really finding is that more and more are in this, age bracket of, 40s and all, women are feeling lost. They're feeling they've lost their identity, but they know that there's so much more inside of them. They used to have some kind of, they used to have confidence, and now it's gone, and where did it go? I don't understand. And so it's really about, like I mentioned before, really reclaiming, reclaiming. I kind of put those together, because when you find it, you claim it. You're like, wait, that was me, right? Reclaiming it and then honoring it, going, okay. Instead of what we so long have done possibly is to shun it, to push things away, to be in resistance rather than in receiving. And then own it, really step in, own your power, and not in a power way, not in a way of power of I'm going to fight, not that type of power. It's that feminine, earthy, gorgeous, sublimeness in a sense. So helping you reconnect with that really, and that first step in terms of what I help with my clients, that first step is just to, again, slough off all the extra noise. I tell people, go on a social media fast. I know it's hard because we really are addicted to our phones. If you pick your phone up at the first thing in the morning, you're addicted to it. Sorry. And it's if that's your first stop, if that's your first thing, you are getting a hit from it in some form or fashion.
Right. I agree.
Yeah. And so getting rid of that. And then really the next step is to really start becoming aware of the thought patterns that are happening inside of you. And then how do you react to them or respond? Hopefully you're responding rather than reacting, but just to become aware, and you start going, wow, okay, I keep telling myself this over and over again. When this thing comes up, anxiety comes. Okay, what if I stopped having the thought? Can I shift the thought so that I can then get out of anxiety and start living where I really want to live and create something from that? And so when you start getting rid of the outside stuff, when you start becoming more aware of what has been running the show in terms of your thoughts. We think 60 to 75,000 thoughts a day, and up to 95% of those thoughts are the same thoughts we thought yesterday and the day before and the day before that. So we're just kind of in, living by default. And so if we're able to slough that off, become aware of those thoughts that are running the show, we then can start reprogramming them, but also then open up ourselves to the divine, to that connection to God, whatever you call it, God, divine, spirit, universe, whatever it is for you personally. For me, it's God, but everyone has a different take on it, right? And I think it's all the same. It's just different wording, right? And so when you're able to then just come in, and that's a scary place. It's scary to come here sometimes because this is why people are afraid to go there or resistant to get to do the work that I help people with, is because we're fearful of what we might find there and we have to deal with it, or we know what we're going to find there and we have to deal with it. But the thing is, until we deal with it, we can't move forward. And I always know when that place is where the piece of resistance for a client, because where they go, this is a place where they keep going up and then they retreat. They keep going all throughout their life, right? And I know when they've hit that, when they kind of disappear. And I'm like, hey, where are you? I haven't heard from you in 2 days or whatever. You know, if it's a one-on-one client, I hear from them every day.
Right.
But if I haven't, I'm like, not seeing you. We need to work on this. This is my job to make you uncomfortable in a sense.
Right.
So that's why you came to me. My job is you hired me to make you uncomfortable so that you can make that leap and then explode from there. But when you realize, okay, that's where I'm hitting up. Okay, let me be aware of that. Let me now really start listening to those divine downloads or those divine nudges, because that's where you're going to start coming back into an alignment with those gifts where they are actually now, you've remembered them, you've
Right.
reconnected with them, you've honored them, to now take the courage to now bring them out. Whereas when you are so in alignment, you start, well, I won't say you are totally, but you really stop caring what other people are going to think. Because the thing is that if either of us if we were too wrapped up in what other people are going to think, you and I would not be having this conversation. And I know for a fact there's at least one nugget of amazingness of what we're talking about that can
Right.
impact somebody. So if we were afraid, I think we both would probably, I don't know totally everything about your story, but I know every human has fears that keeps us back. So I can say, I know that both of us have still held ourselves back because of certain fears,
Right.
but that's just a, universal thing. But had we not stepped into what we're doing right now, we wouldn't be impacting some form or fashion what we're supposed to be doing. And so that's what you have to remember for yourself, our audience members, that you can't. I mean, just think about all the people who are successful and who are celebrities or who stand out. They all stand out because they're individuals, they're unique. And that's what's so crazy about our society, is that we celebrate. I mean, like celebrity in it is celebration, right? And
Right.
so we celebrate these people that are like, wow, and they're so different and they're amazing at what they do, or whatever it is, because they showed up on TV, whatever it is, but it's because they stand out. We celebrate it, but we're fearful of doing it, because also then you can become a bigger target. But the thing is like, we're celebrating that. And that's where everyone is supposed to be in terms of whatever greatness they become, whether it's to be
Right.
just, to be at home and be amazing at home, or it's to be on social media or in the media,
Right. And
whatever it is.
we need to be thinking more about celebrating ourselves and our own talents
Completely.
instead of somebody else that's on TV for whatever their talents and gifts are, because that, again, we're doing that comparison thing, and then then it makes us shrink down, because then we feel like we're not good enough and we're not worthy.
Right.
And all of
We'll never be better than
right.
anybody.
We'll never measure up to that, or those kind of silly thoughts that we have going through our heads all of the time, and we all do it.
Yeah.
But one thing that you do is, when you're talking about, I love your confidence aspect and what you do for women, but I also know that with your personal branding and your business coaching, you really can't get to that until you tackle the confidence piece that you're just talking about. You have to
Totally.
know who you are, before you can ever get to, and that's knowing your gifts, know how you operate, know what makes you tick. We all tick. There's things that make us all excited in a different level, but we have to know what makes us tick in order to get to that level of business. And then, so we're in that level of business, and now our branding, if I'm hearing you right, is wrapped around what we just discovered from you, and that's discovering who we actually are. And
at your essence.
at your essence of who you are. We have to discover that, because that becomes part of our brand, which is attached to what we do in our lives, whether we do it for a living or we do it as a passion work hobby or whatever it is. Our branding of that thing is the essence of who we actually are. So how can we can't really brand ourselves if we haven't figured out who we are yet, I guess.
Exactly. It's that question of who am I and why am I here?
But I love what you did say about when it comes to branding, and you love the video aspect, because you do video flawlessly, because you're so real and what you do. But one thing I want to touch on before we wrap up is your Glam Cam kit, because I have it, I use it. I told people at the beginning of the show we were going to talk about it, and I'm going to link it into our show notes. But you have something really cool that you did with it. You went to the Indies with it. So tell us
sure did.
about that.
Sure, definitely. Well, do you want me to give you a little history of the Glam Cam kit?
Yes.
Okay. I did want to say something about the personal branding too, is that we have to figure out who we are. And the way to find that out is to access and celebrate. That's what I meant by the word of honoring
Hmm.
the beautiful things that are inside of us. That one, like you mentioned before, it comes so easy to us, and to whatever you really feel beautiful with, like, where when you're doing it, you're in bliss. Like, it's just things like, that you really enjoy. Those are the things that you want to then start bringing out. So that's one way of finding out who you are, in a sense of like just really seeing what you naturally love doing, what
Right.
you do, and all of that. And then to bring that out into your personal branding. So, what I often will tell people when we are working on their personal branding is to create a Pinterest board that's not there, and you can do it just as you would like a vision board as well on paper. But I call it an essence board. So I say, pick out your favorite colors, pick out your favorite, textures. And is it exquisite fur and jewels and what kind of colors would that be? Is it natural? Is it, does it have, is there a regalness to it, or is there a rawness to it? Is there a fierceness to it, or a softness? What are the, is it pink? All of that. You just start bringing that out of things that you absolutely love and that you're like, feels so good. Is there an element of like snake skin in that,
Right.
whatever it is? And we then can see it. And then, just like we do with a vision board, we look at it, we feel it, we envision it. I also tell it, my clients every day, look at that. If we're working in this way, not everyone, that comes to me for this, but, look at that essence board and really feel into it. Like, cause this is you, like, this is like you at your essence. Look at it and just go, yes. So every day you enter into that, and so you can exude that. And then we start looking at the visual aspect of the brand, but also it's so much about what's coming from the inside to create that charisma that
Right.
comes out. That is your brand, right?
Right.
And I don't mean charisma as like, hey, I'm the life of the party. It's that essence that you can't describe. It's a feeling that you give other people.
Right.
So I just wanted to put that in there in terms of, how do we find ourselves? That's the first and foremost step of one, after you've sloughed off everything, like really look at what you love and what it feels like. That's then what we're pulling out to create your personal branding, because personal branding is, a promise. I mean, a branding is a promise of what they're going to get, right? And, when they interact with you, in a sense. I mean, there's more to it, but that's an element of it. That if you then can bring out who you are and feel it, you're then giving the viewer or the person who's following you or interacting with you an experience, and they feel it. They feel, and they start feeling like, oh, I can feel that way too about myself. And so it's really important to step into that. So that's just an element of that. I'll
Yeah.
go back to the Glam Cam kit. The Glam Cam kit is a divine download that came to me December of 2017, so about a year and a half ago at the point of this show. And it's a kit that takes all the guesswork out of doing your videos. So lighting, microphone stand, all of that. And I wanted to have an experience. I mentioned experiences, feel that. So I branded it and put it in a box, and, beautiful box and bag, so that you have that experience like a beautiful pair of shoes or a nice handbag. Right. And so with that, I followed that intuitive hit and got into action, instead of like, oh, that's a great idea. Someday I'll do, maybe. I mean, haven't you had things in the middle of the night and you're like, oh, that's a great idea. I can do it this way and that way. And you wake up in the morning, you're like, that's a stupid idea. Why would I do that? Am I the only one who thinks that? I don't think so. And so I was like, no, I'm going to take action. So from that, I got the idea, got into production, prototypes, focus groups, sourcing, looking at different products, figuring out what the box would be, doing interviews, sourcing, taking orders, taking payment, and shipping within 6 weeks.
Wow.
So I was just like, I gotta step on this, because I know this is, my idea that God gave to me, or God's idea that He gave to me for me to go do, right? And there's a story, and I've said this before, so if you've heard this, is that there's a story of, Michael Jackson and Prince. They're at this, when they were alive, that you could agree that they're like at the same vibrational level, so same level of talent and just like genius, right? And as the story goes, Michael Jackson knew that if he had an idea at 3 a.m., he knew that he had to get on that idea. Otherwise, he knew that Prince would get the idea and go do it.
Oh,
And
wow.
so it's like that. I listened to that and I'm like, okay, an idea came to me. It means that I'm supposed to go do something with it. Otherwise, somebody else is going to get it. But I
Right.
was meant to do it. So let me go do it. And so fast forward on that, 8 months. Yeah, 8 months. Because tomorrow is actually the 1 year anniversary that this all started, which is kind of cool. Is that I was having a coaching session with one of my, not with my clients, with my coach. And we were talking about the different directions that the Video Glam Cam kit could go. Is it where I'm selling it one off, like people
Right.
ordering it online and doing that, or do white labeling or private labeling with it, where people then it can be their kit, their branding, and I can create that for them.
Right.
And in the middle of that time, I was like, I'd really love for this to someday be in a gift bag, a celebrity gift bag at these celebrity or award shows.
Yeah.
And my coach said, oh, great. I love the idea. Put that on your vision board. Just be open to ideas and conversations and see where it goes. Maybe 2 or 3 years from now that could happen. And I want to put a little note in terms of learning opportunity in that, is that had I put it in my brain, in 2 or 3 years, I'm going to work towards being in that, I would have never done what I'm about to describe to you, because
Right.
you plan and plan and plan, and 2 years have gone by and I still haven't planned for it. So you have to just be open to what happens and step into, if you've been called, you step into it. And so
Exactly.
literally 3 days, it was like a Tuesday or so, my coaching call was on. And that Friday I was in with a client who was filming an interview. I was helping with the interviewing process. And the guy there, the guest, he said, yeah, when we were at the Emmys, he has a water company. When we were at the Emmys backstage, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are you kidding me? What? So it's being able to slough off again and listen to the divine nudges, right? I was like, oh, wait, there's a conversation. So right when we were finished, I was like, okay, tell me about this. How did you do that? Because would you know how to get
I
backstage?
wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't even think about that. No.
Right, no. You're like, what? And he's like, oh, I have the direct contact with the woman who invented this type of gifting suite, where you're literally backstage at these different award ceremonies, and the gift bag in the 90s. And I was like, are you serious? Like, who you don't just get that number, right?
No.
So I sat on it. This is another learning opportunity, that I sat on it because I was afraid of what might happen. What if I'm told something that I can't then do? So let me just be safe and not. And I was like, no, this is so stupid. So about 3 days later, so that was a Friday, got the contact. It was like Tuesday, and the next week, and I was like, okay, fine, I'm just going to reach out to her. And long story short, she's like, okay, this is, no, let me say this. She's like, well, what are you interested in? We've got these different shows. Like, well, what's the next one? She goes, the Emmys. They're in 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I get chills by describing it now. It's like, what? And it's, again, one of those things, if you just step into the next best step, if I were to look at that and go, oh my gosh, 2.5 weeks, there's no way I can go. No. Okay. Maybe next year,
Right.
I was like, no, I feel like I'm supposed to be a part of this. So I said, okay, well, what do we need to do? And this is how quickly things, manifestations can happen.
Oh, yeah.
Literally 3 weeks after I said this, right? And so I said, okay, what does that look like? She said, well, I'll submit your product to the Emmy committee, see if you're approved, and I'll get back to you. So then she did that, came back, and at that point, the night she emailed me telling me that I was, that I'd been accepted to be there, or to be a part of the gift bag, not be there yet, but to be in the gift bag. I said that I got it at night, or I received it. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
The next morning, I was like, well, you know what? I think this is a distraction. I need to focus, me talking myself out. It was like, it's a nice way to self-sabotage, right? Well,
Exactly.
girlfriend, just relax. Don't worry about that,
Right.
I was like, yeah, I just think this is a distraction. It's stupid for me to be doing this. Well, bam, right as I'm saying that, I look at the email and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, I'm going. Or my product's going. Because then I read it and I was like, it's going to be on Entertainment Tonight. It's going to be on Rachel Ray. It's going to be on all these different media stations. I was like, oh, heck yes, I have to make this happen so far. So, to make it happen. But then I also had this innate nudge. I was like, no, I have to be in the room. I have to be in the room. I can't just send my product and be a part of that. I need to be there. I know that there's some connection I'm going to have, or some learning opportunity, or something that's going to come from this.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, what does that look like? Like, what do I need to make that happen? She said, well, I'm going to have to submit you again to see, because I had to be on brand. It's not just some rinky dink, whatever. It had to be on brand, because I'll be speaking with celebrities, and they're in their gowns. So got resubmitted. She came back. She said, you've been accepted. And there were other things that I almost wasn't going to be able to do it, because they had some parameters around that I would have to bring in other products and things that it just wasn't going to happen. And every day, I was in tears, so much in tears. Like, you're taking me to this far. How do I, what else?
Right. It's got to be the right door. It's got to be the right door.
Yeah. And so finally, I surrendered to it, and I said, if this is what I'm supposed to do, it's going to happen. And within those 2.5 weeks, we got all the product put together. One of my daughters and I went out 3 days before the show. Went out to LA with the product to get it all put together within it was like 14 hours. Like we flew out in the morning, got the products, put it all together, and our luggage going were boxes. Coming back late at night was just, my purse. And so, but the thing is, to do that, I really wanted to give an example to our girls. Like, this is what it means to really make things happen in a joyful way. Yes, it can get stressful because you want it, but you surrender into it. And I like, everything opened up perfectly. It was just crazy how, she went, and then my parents were like, hey, we'd like to be a part of this process with you. We're going to come down to LA and get a hotel there. We know you're going to stay with a friend, but hey, we're going to be there. And then I was like, well, can Bella, our younger daughter, come? And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. So then my other daughter got to come with me. And the hotel, I ended up just staying with them, because we realized my friend was going to be like an hour one way, or each way.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be that the hotel, literally the back door opened up to the alley to the place where the Emmys were being held. So all I had to do was walk out the door and walk every little thing. And so the reason why I say all of that, I know it's probably a longer story that you wanted to hear, is that when you step into what you're supposed to be stepping into, so much happens. And that when you have dreams, when you have goals, they are your marching orders. Like, those were placed in you to go and do, because you become, it's the journey, it's who you become in the process, but also all the experiences that you get to have along the way that you would have never dreamt of. I would have never dreamt, even, at the beginning of last August, that I would have never even thought to go, oh yeah, someday I want to like shake hands with Michael Douglas, or with the Queer Eye guys, or with, Angela Bassett. I would have never dreamt of I think I want to be in a room with them. Yeah. And then it just happened. But it's because, if you go back, because I followed that divine nudge. Right. And created something that
and you tried to be fearful enough to self-sabotage you, but you fought through it. Mm-hmm. And I'm a true believer. I had this on my my Instagram the other day, that I said that if it is a door that is ordained by God, then it is going to feel right. Things are going to open. The door's going to be wide open. If it is not,
might be scary
for you to go through that door, then there is going to be one blocking stone after another. And people just keep trying to fight through that door, instead of looking for the other door that he has for you. There's constantly trying to beat down that door that's not supposed to be open.
But there's a little, I want to preface that too, is that sometimes, and this is maybe a self-sabotage, is that sometimes what we're supposed to attain or experience is not going to always be easy. You can't give up. So one can interpret challenges to your dreams as God saying, no, there's another door, right? And so it's important, if it feels right, like you said, if it feels like when you're walking into it and it feels right, then you're supposed to follow it. It doesn't always mean it's always going to be easy. The reason why I'm saying that is when challenges do arise, don't automatically assume it's that God doesn't want you to go in that direction. Right? It's that this must be a message from God, because the things that do you had I thought that, I had that feeling like you're saying, if it feels right, like if the vision feels right, then you got to follow it. Had I thought, oh, well, look at, I mean, literally I had so many other doors in that 2.5 weeks close on me. Had I followed those, I'd been like, okay, I guess those are signs, but it really, it's when you know it's right, you know it's right. And if you just say,
Right.
then you're it's a form of self-sabotage.
Sabotaging. I
But
know.
definitely, I totally believe in what you're saying. I just want to preface that because sometimes people will, I don't want to say abuse that, but just go, oh, well,
Right.
if it's challenging, that must be a message from God. So let me let go of that. When he's not saying, no, I'm pulling you through this to make you stronger, to make you who you're supposed to be.
Right.
So that when we get there, you are the woman who can be there. What's that?
Even in the challenge, you still have that, like, you know, it's right.
You know, yeah.
And then that's how you know, because I know people will say, well, I don't know if that's God. I don't know if it's talking to me. I don't know if it's the right thing. If it feels right and you're at peace with it, not saying that you're not going to have a challenge with it, because we're going to have challenges and stepping stones. However, it is going to feel right and pull you right forward. All right, Elizabeth, we got to wrap up, and I could talk to you like all day.
I know, I love this. I love talking with you. I want you
to tell us a little bit how we can find you, what you have coming up next. I know you have the mini series that's coming up, so tell us a little bit about that and where we can find you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you asking that. I do have a 3-part mini series, masterclass / challenge, I guess you could say. It's like all of that coming up August 26th, 27th, 28th. And I'm actually going to spread that over the week though. So I'm like, cause I want to be able to give even more, but that's the starting point. And what this is a confidence boosting challenge to really get you grounded in like what we spoke about, sloughing off all of the outside noise to reprogram and to become aware and then really step out into what you desire to step out into. And then what I say is, my pillars in my work are very much informed by science, spirituality, and style. So it's when you're working from the inside out and outside in. And so we're going to, it's a mini series of the work that I do that I take you through. It's going to be a fun experience, deep work, but fun within a wonderful community of other women who are supportive. And you can find the information there and sign up. It's free. So there's no, you just show up. There's going to be a workbook that you can work along with you or have along with you. And you go to www.bit.ly, so bit.ly/confidence with a CE, confidence mini series. And so definitely sign up for that. I know this is going to be airing before that challenge. So definitely sign up and just get a taste. If you've gotten at least one little thing from today, just think about what you'll get for some more guidance and within a community that's going to support you. So I have that. And then also you can go to thevideoglamcamkit.com and you can see more about the Video Glam Cam Kit. And we're also, I'm in the works of for a new one, not updated, just a different version that will be coming out in the next few months as well. So definitely what I would say is if you're interested in more about the Video Glam Cam Kit, definitely sign up at the very least to get updates on the new kit. Sign up for the 3-day or the 3-part mini series because then you'll be in my community that I can then reach out to you. So that whether you want to do the mini series or not, definitely sign up for it because then that way I can keep you up to date. And
I'm excited. I need to sign up for this mini series. So
yay!
Yeah, so that's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, guys, of next week. And we're
going to go over the week, but
yeah, it's going to go over the week, and I'm going to link everything in the show notes as well. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram, Empowerment is Beauty, and I'll be talking about that today on my Instagram stories as well as tomorrow. That way, you guys will have all the information that you need to sign up so you can get started with me and Elizabeth on Monday. Woo! I'm going to do it too.
Yay, I'm so excited.
Where can we find you on social media, Elizabeth?
Well, the Facebook group that I have, where actually all of this mini series is going to take part into, is called the Inner Celebrity Experience. So look that up. And then also on IG or Instagram, it's I am Elizabeth de Moraes. You can find me there as well. So those are the main two platforms that I work on.
Perfect. And
Thank you.
when you guys look her up on Instagram, it is Elizabeth, Elizabeth, and her last name, Demoraes. And I'm going to link that as well in the show notes. Thank you so much.
Let me just say something with the two words I am. So I am
Elizabeth, right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will link that too in the show notes so you guys can click in the show notes and go straight over to her Instagram. Thank you, Elizabeth. I love you so much.
I love you.
I'm excited about this series starting. See, I love stuff like this. I am just attracted to it because it's so inspirational, and I know I'm going to get golden nuggets, guys. Make sure that you sign up so we can do it together.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sure, you want to get an accountability partner, get your BFF and do it together. It's so much fun.
Look, I've got a bunch of those.
All right, let's do it. Bring them along.
I have a bunch of those. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And guys, listen, jump over to the podcast right now on iTunes. If you have just 1 minute or anywhere that you listen to Real Girl Talk, leave us a review so that we can highlight you and your review on an upcoming episode. And remember to take a screenshot of this and post it on your Instagram story or Facebook story. Make sure that you tag both Elizabeth and I, hashtag Real Girl Talk Podcast, and let me know in the review what this episode has done for you. Because I know Elizabeth wants to know, I want to know, be a light for somebody, because when it is your time of need, you want to make sure that you've built a community of like-minded people that can help you pull through any struggle or setback that you're going through. And until next time, have a blessed, incredible week.
Hey guys, I want to make sure that I tell you about Writer's Roadmap Master Course that's going to be opening up in a month. If you remember, this course was open in the spring of this year, and it's going to open up again in the fall. So if you have a book inside of you, something that you've wanted to get out there and say, maybe it's a how-to, maybe it's your story. You know, when you're just starting out, the first question that you might have is, what should I write about? How do I publish? I constantly get questions from people unsure about which area they want to become an author in. And they often are just very nervous about choosing the wrong path or the right path. They don't understand the techie part of publishing, and they just have no idea how to even create a cover or where to begin. Well, I'm going to tell you that Writer's Roadmap Master Course would be perfect for you if this is what you're going through. It's going to open up in about a month. It's a 9-module course. It's going to give you 21 lectures packed with valuable information, videos, PDFs, templates, and guides to show you just how to write a dynamic book cover, how to format, launch, publish, and market your book. It's time to get that story, that skill, that knowledge that's in you out into the world. I'm going to give more information later on as the weeks go by with exact dates. I'm also going to be offering some bonuses for the first 48 hours when we do relaunch the Writer's Roadmap Master Course in about a month. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, Empowerment is Beauty. Make sure that you're going to Facebook, Empowerment is Beauty, so you have it first hand. You can also go to my website, sherryricard.com. And right there, you'll have a pop-up box. Put your name, your email in that, and you'll be able to know right when the course is launched.